Okay, so today is December the 16th, 2024. It's amazing how fast this year went by. But let's get into it. Okay, so I was watching one of the YouTube channels that I am subscribed to. That is a heavy glare coming from up there. Let me see if I can turn this down. That I subscribe to, and the name of the page is Emancipation Media. Now, a lot of the information that I get over there, it's pretty good. But this particular video right here is kind of disturbing, right? And I'm gonna play the video, or I'm gonna play the sound to the video, and then I'm gonna give my analysis. But before we do that, I'm so excited about this piece of historical information that I've been searching for a couple years now. I first read this when I was in Pelican Bay. It was introduced to me by the brothers up there, and the name of the pamphlet is 23 chapters inside this pamphlet, I think, with a total of 27 pages. Oh, it's excellent. It gets no better than this, right? We have 23 chapters. Some of the chapters are, for instance, the chapter that I might read from today will be the chapter that is going to correlate with this video and my analysis of the video, but it is called Black Literature and Art. And I'm at the library, and that is a heavy glow that's bouncing off this chalkboard behind me. But I'm already assigned to this room, so just try to overlook it. Try to overlook that glow because it's killing me too. But So the name of the pamphlet is called "The Basic Tenets of Revolutionary Black Nationalism," and it was written in 1977 by Muhammad Ahmad. I've been searching high and low for this pamphlet. I mean, every brother that I knew inside the prison, I was like, man, do you have a copy? Because we referred to it as the BTs. I was like, man, do you have a copy of the BTs? No one had a copy of the BTs. It was like once they let people up out of the SHU, the IGI, which is the Institution of Gang Intelligence, they was coming through your cells and they was shaking you down. They was trying to find any reason to reinforce your validation. I mean, they can no longer throw us in the hole for being quote unquote gang related, or prison gang members, prison gang associates, prison gang affiliates. You can no longer go to the hole for that, or to the SHU program on an indeterminate status for just being merely connected. You actually, which they should have done this 20 years ago to save a lot of, it would have saved a whole lot of people out in the state of California inside the prison system, being, just sent to the back and forgotten about. And when we say to the back, we're talking about the SHU on indeterminate SHU statuses. But yeah, so we got the basic tenets of revolutionary black nationalism, right? And the chapter that I might read off today is going to be dealing with, again, Black literature and art. Let me go ahead and get to that section right now so that we can be moving. Let me go ahead and get on down here, man. And like I say, it's only 27 pages. I don't know if they sell this anywhere, but I'm sure that you can find it like I found it and print it out. We even got chapter 15 dealing with black women inside the movement, right? Okay, so yeah, chapter 17 is Black Literature and Art. Let me go ahead and get it. I got bad eyes, right? That's all that reading in prison in the dark. They used to tell me, man, youngsters, stop reading in the dark. For years I read in the dark. But let's go ahead and get to this particular podcast, and it's by the Emancipation Media, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know who Philip Scott is, right? Now, I normally don't have disagreements with Mr. Scott, but I'm gonna point a few things out. So let's get to the video. Let me stop rambling because I don't want this to go too long. Okay, here we go. Let me do this like this. Okay, so before I do that, this is what I'm saying. I need a staff to help me organize, right? Okay, so the title to the video is Afro Latina warns FBAs, which I guess that's a new acronym now for for Black Americans who can directly trace their lineage to 1619, which are the original blacks in America. But now you got this whole debate. It was already blacks here. We know it was already blacks here. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the people who can trace their ancestry back to the slave ships. Man, sometimes, boy, oh my goodness. That's why we need central nucleus. You want a central nucleus won't allow us to get, go off on tangents and get drawn here and drawn there and a million different frivolous debates. Okay, so Afro-Latina warns FBAs, which is Foundational Black Americans, to gatekeep our culture so we won't lose it to other groups. Should I read that title again? Afro-Latina warns Foundational Black Americans to gatekeep our culture so we won't lose it to other groups. Okay, let's get to it. And again, the podcast is Philip Scott Podcast. It's Philip Scott. It's his podcast, but it's Emancipation Media. So here we go. Let's get to it. Make sure I got my volume turned up. Let's go. This is going to be a good one.
So you have a sister that's an Afro-Latina, and she is warning FBAs about why we should be gatekeeping our culture.
That's Philip Scott right
there.
there.
What happened within Afro-Latino culture. Let's go ahead and check that out.
I will always support African Americans in wanting to gatekeep their
beautiful
culture
black woman, huh?
Because the
Well, we got some
erasure
beautiful
is
women, man.
real. Gatekeep hip hop, gatekeep R&B, gatekeep your culture, period. As an Afro-Latina, trust me, I know firsthand the erasure is real. For context, Latino music such as reggaeton, salsa, bachata, just to name a few, are historically Black Latino music. They have their roots in Black Latinidad. And as a result, the artists that used to have the biggest impact and largest visibility in these genres were Black Latino artists. Fast forward to today, the artists with the biggest impact and the largest amount of visibility in these genres are white Latino artists. It's so bad that they have started to play in our faces. They gave J Balvin about 2 years ago Afro-Latino Music Artist of the Year award. This Conquistador Cruz, this direct descendant of Christopher Columbus, accepted and was awarded Afro-Latino Music Artist of the Year award. I will never let this go. Now, I'm not saying we don't have Afro-Latinos that are very, popular today still in these music genres, as we should, but they do not have the impact nor the visibility that the white Latino artists in these genres have began to receive. It has gotten so bad that there are now Spaniards winning Latino Music Artist Awards. Spaniards. And it's honestly just so sad to see the erasure in real time. Our music, we had salsa songs that would sing about, the impact of slavery in Latin America. We used to have music that would sing about and talk about the beauty of Black Latina women. None of that exists anymore for the most part. So yeah, gatekeep.
I'm glad we are gatekeeping now. I'm glad we are calling people out. I'm glad that we are saying, no, you're not going to just come into our culture, take from it, and then benefit off of it when Black Americans are still trying to benefit from our own culture. And people are upset that we're doing that now. They're upset that we're not letting anybody just come into our culture and do whatever the hell that they want to do. See, that free ride of coming in and out of black culture is stopping. And let me tell you why we have to stop it. They want to take all our rhythm but none of our blues. You understand? They want to enjoy all the best of black America, but they don't want to deal with the pain and suffering that comes with being black in America. And for that alone, we have to gatekeep our culture. If you're going to take our rhythm and none of the blues, then you got to go, because we have the rhythm and the blues that we got to deal with as being black in America. So look at what she's saying as an Afro-Latina, and how those who are not Afro-Latino came in and took from them, and now they're being put up on the biggest billboards and stages and whatever. That's why we have to do that. And let me understand something. Anyone that has anything of value, they gatekeep it. They make it exclusive. It has exclusivity. If everybody has access to something, it has no value. You understand? That's why certain diamonds, it costs so much money, because it's rare. You can't get access to it. Other cultures like, oh, no, you're not coming in here. You are not us. Or you're not privy to certain information because you're not us. Understand? So, yes, we got to gatekeep. And gatekeep the hell out of our culture as black Americans, and be unapologetic about that. And to hell who it offends. Because you have a right to say who's coming in and out of our culture. You have a right to say, no, go over there with your culture. Why are you coming over here? You don't value your culture enough? Now you over here? I'm not impressed because you could dance. I'm not impressed because you could sing. Like trying to imitate a black person. I'm not impressed with that whatsoever. And as black Americans, if we stop supporting those who try to come in our culture, always remember that statement. You want to take all our rhythm and benefit off of it, but don't take none of the blues. You come to the culture, but you don't even fight for the culture. I understand you came to the culture and you also fight for it too. Then that's different. But if you want to come in, make your bag, and do all the things off of black folks, but then when it's time to get down with black Americans, or you falling right back away, like, hey, ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, if it has nothing to do with you to fight for us, there's nothing to do with you to take from our culture. So yes, gatekeeping has to be increased by 1,000-fold in the black American community, period.
Check it, Chad.
Okay, so that's the video. Now, when I first listened to the video last night, I kind of ran, okay, well, I'm going to do a podcast about it. But, I had to come back again, and I had to objectively listen to what the sister said. Now, I have no problem with anything she said, other than when she mentioned that, black Americans, I'm not going to use that foundational black, I'm not going to get caught up in that crap, right? But that black Americans should protect hip hop and R&B. Because see, she was just concentrating on those particular aspects of culture. But culture encompasses a lot of different things, right? And I wrote some notes down, and we'll show you. Culture is just more than just music, right? But for the purpose of this discussion, we're not going to go into that today. So I was reading some of the comments, and if you listen to what Brother Philip Scott said, that we have to be the gatekeepers. We can't allow for anybody to come in and take our culture. I don't care, all that, right? So this is one of the comments that I read, right? And this was written 2 days ago. It says, artists like Stephanie Mills warned us a while back we need to fund our own entertainment industry. People like Clive Davis have done more harm than good, right? So that's a true statement. That is a true fact right there, right? And it stands in stark contradiction to what Mr. Scott said. I had two contradictions with some of his videos as of late, right? Or you know, I have an opposing view. Normally, I like his content, but we don't control the music entertainment industry. We don't control how it's distributed or streamed worldwide. We don't control that. So we can't control when people come in and, you know, we like to call them culture vultures, right? They come in and they take different aspects of our culture and they, you know, they're supported by the industry and they make $1 billion. That's hypothetically, right? But you know, you get the drift, right? So we don't control that. But let me get on back over here to chapter 17. So I disagree when she said that Black Americans must be the gatekeeper of hip hop, right? If you watch some of my previous videos, you should, well, you know what, I'm going to clarify it now. I hate hip hop, right? Hip hop, that entire culture, it is the worst thing that Black Americans ever created. It is a cancerous sore, a cancerous tumor that has completely eradicated independent thought for generations inside of the Black community. So let's get into it, right? These are my notes. We might not get into already 17. Let me get to my notes, right? Okay, so hip hop culture. What is it? Of course, hip hop culture is primarily the music, right? Because without the music, it would be nothing else. Okay, but again, we're talking about culture, right? So we have hip hop culture, it's music. So now let's get into the music itself. The music is a result of what? Values, belief systems, which what? Influence social relationships, class ideology, social interactions, reflection of economic status, a reflection of political maturity and understanding. Right? So the hip hop culture that she's talking about preserving, we don't need that. We don't need it. We do not need it. It's the worst thing that Black Americans ever created. It is worse than the AIDS virus. It is bad, right? Because what does hip hop do? The current hip hop music that's destroying our communities from the top to the bottom, even the Black middle class can't escape it because the Black middle class, again, is weak. Hip hop, as we know it, rap music, gangster rap, drill music, it is having just as much of a negative impact on the Black middle class because they're weak than it is on the Black underclass, right? It's the same. Okay, so let's look at modern day hip hop. What does it do? It reinforces Black male emasculation. It reinforces over sexualization of the Black female. It contributes to what? The destruction of the Black family unit. It promotes gang violence and fratricide. Discourages educational advancement. solidifies black subservience to the system of white domination and or the international rules-based social order, which I discuss over here all the time. The international rules-based social order. The white ruling class on top, the black population on the bottom, right? It magnifies tenfold the psychosocial inferiority complex. I'm gonna read that last one again. It magnifies tenfold the psychosocial inferiority complex, right? Last but not least, and I'm sure we can go on and on with this one. You're gonna need someone, that's much more educated than myself that can write a thesis about this, right? I'm an average guy. What does it promote? It promotes female sexual promiscuity and the spread of diseases and STDs. This is what hip hop does to the cultural fabric of a people, our people, right? Now, I haven't heard any white hip hop artists, making the same type of rap music that the black artists are making, the Babies of the world, the Lil Durks of the world, and the thousands of other clowns out there who have absolutely no respect for the survival of black America, other than stuffing their pockets with the crumbs that the master allowed them to have, right? And then you got, the females have taken over the rap now. The men were that weak, they gave it to them, right? See, obviously, no, the men weren't that weak. See, goes back to what I was saying. The system controls rap music or hip hop culture. We don't control it. Right? So now the biggest artists out there are the female rappers. The Sexy Reds, the Megan Thee Stallions, Glorilla. They're the biggest rap artists out there now. And what message are they delivering? They are delivering messages of black inferiority, female domination over black males, subservience to the system of white supremacy, and the destruction of the black community. Those are the messages that they are delivering in this so-called hip-hop music. No, we should not preserve hip-hop. Hip-hop in a revolutionary world would be destroyed completely. So let me go back to the BTs. Okay, so the basic tenets on black nationalism, or black revolutionary nationalism, as I like to say. Okay, so let's get, and this is already 23, we're gonna stop this by 28. I'm just gonna read just a small section, right? But again, this is the basic tenets of black nationalism, and it's only 27 pages. Excellent reading, right? Here we go, chapter 17, Black Literature and Art. And remember, this is written from the perspective of decolonization. Black writers have an important role to play in our struggle for national liberation and self-determination. Want to start off with, black writers should be a part of and function as the vanguard of the National Black Liberation Front. We are the symbol makers for both the developing black intelligentsia and the vast majority of our people. Black writers must see themselves as part of the vanguard of a revolutionary nationalist elite of the colonized captive African nations seeking independence. Here, listen, black writers must create positive images that will stimulate and move our people toward black nationhood. We are reflectors of the will of our people. We must take the collective will, the unsystematized ideas, symbols, and images, as well as collective historical experience, and put it in a way that our people can understand. that their only salvation is the formation of an independent black republic. Right? Now, the last part, formation of an independent black republic, let's just let that go on one end and out the other. But for the sake of argument, we're talking about culture. Our writings must be simple, clear, reflecting our experience, and above all, in all of our writings, we must reflect black nationalism and victory of our people over their enemies. We should never reflect defeat, compromise, or negativeness of decadent, oppressive ways of white America. If we write about the oppressive, counter-revolutionary ways of our people, it must show that we are throwing off these white hang-ups and are moving on up to black victory, black unity, and black power. We will never reflect disunity. So we're not going to be talking about the ops. We're never going to reflect disunity, right? Okay, let me move my place. Lost my place. We will never reflect disunity. Always our writings, poetry, essays should end with our people getting it and having it together. We as black writers, oh man, I shouldn't have touched that page. Right, the Cultural Revolution. See, that's another one we're gonna talk about. Okay. Say, we will never reflect disunity. Always our writings, poetry, essays should end with our people getting it or having it together. We as black writers must be image builders. Image builders. Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla, or reflectors of black success in the black context, reflecting black values in a black world. Black writers must be prophets, foreseers, visionaries of a new black world where black people are in power and rule. We must reflect this in all our writings and must constantly be thinking of leaving a black nationalist heritage or laying a black ideological base for the next generation. Black writers must take the theoretical writings and ideology of the vanguard, black internationalism, and must reflect it in every way possible. So I'm gonna stop right there, right? Because see, I'm well read in black revolutionary nationalist ideology. Some of us aren't, and I understand. It hasn't been an effective dissemination of black nationalist ideology in 4 decades now, right? And again, this was written in 1977, roughly 4 years after I was born, and I didn't start getting my political or my revolutionary political education until like around 1993 when I arrived up in Pelican Bay. Everything before that, it was coming from and I was doing it on my own. I didn't have, a center of gravity around me to guide me in the right direction in terms of strategic development. I just was a young kid like the rest of us in YA, and we was getting this information and that information and that information, right? So I'm well read, a lot of us not, and again, this, some of the terminology here is from 1970s. So it's not going to, it's not current modern day terminology, right? But the message is still the same. When you are an artist, whether you are a writer or a musician, you play a very big role in the cultural development of our people, negative or positively, right? So the music industry knows this. White supremacy knows this. This is why they allow for these clown-ass black motherfuckers to jump all over the radio and, everybody is a bitch, everybody is an op, I'm gonna shoot up my ops. They understand the powerful magnetic pull of of that type of reactionary culture. They understand. And this is why they control it top to bottom. They control it top to bottom. They decide who's going to make a record and who's not. They decide what type of content is going to be put out and who's not. But see, where black folks have abdicated their responsibility is that we allow them to. We allow them to, right? If you stop empowering these clowns inside our community, no, we're not going to listen to your music. We're going to boycott that type of music. See, this is where the black middle class should have come in at. But again, they politically, so they're just as weak and degenerate as the black underclass is. Their kids are also being affected by this crap. I mean, let's just look at recent history. Let's look at the Democratic Convention. You actually bought Megan Thee Stallion out and said that she represented black women? You invited Beyonce. Is this the best we can do? And black men, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? When are you going to stand up and say, man, enough is enough with this here? You're just going to continue to be led around, on a leash by your women. Because that's the equivalent of what's going on. You've been led around on a leash by your women. It is the man's responsibility to stand up and say, okay, well, we're not going to allow this. White men do it. Asian men do it. The Arab world does it. I mean, look at the effect. And this is why I warned Africa, do not let black Americans into your country in large numbers unchecked. We have to undergo a complete cultural revolution over here. They will bring that stuff to Africa. As you see, it's already having a negative effect. All the women over in South Africa and Nigeria walking around with that, I like to call it the skull caps on. They're walking around with skull caps on. They're walking around with hair weave. Look at the women down in the Caribbean. They're walking around with the skull caps on, hair weave. Where did it come from? It came from black American women. That's where it came from. And it appears that the men in Africa are going to just allow it to happen. So when are the men going to become men and stand up and put fear in other men who go against the grain? You have to put fear into them. They have to be afraid to twerk up on the table. They have to be afraid to go to Ghana and twerk up on historical monuments. They have to be afraid of talking about fratricide in their music. Until you make them afraid, we're going to keep going through the same thing that we've been going through. Or y'all are, not me. Because I don't listen to it. I already, look, y'all are going to keep going through the same thing. Just having no effect on me. Because I've been decolonialized. I don't listen to the music. I don't dress like them. I don't talk like them. I don't think like them. My values are different from them. And so too are a lot of other people. And this is another reason why I created this channel. And I talk about the reason for 10K. Some brothers are tired. Some brothers are fed up. But it's all going to equate to naught if we don't move into a general area and start to rebuild our own nation right here inside of America. It doesn't have to be antagonistic to the United States government. We don't have to, be pushing a philosophy that we finna militarily overthrow the government in order to just build a community where people can just grow up in peace, man. So this is already, okay, let's go for a couple more minutes. So I'm surprised at Philip Scott, man. Yes, we need to gatekeep the culture that we create and control. This whole Black American culture thing, I have a problem with that because remember, Black people in America were never decolonialized. We were never decolonialized. The government that existed when we first came over here is the same government in power now. The government was never overthrown. The slave colony that was over here doing from 1619 to 1865. This is the same Black population with the same government that ruled over that population then, the same government. So we live under direct colonial rule over here. We don't live under neo-colonialism. We live under colonialism. That's what we live under. So that's why I say that what we refer to as Black Americans, it was a successful experiment. We evolved under colonialism. And right now, in our psychological mind state, we pose no threat to anyone other than ourselves. So I'm surprised that Philip Scott, he should have been more critical. I mean, again, Black social media has to be more critical of those things that are destroying us. I don't want to hear about white supremacy. I don't want to hear about police brutality. I don't want to hear about none of that. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear about how we destroying ourselves. I want to hear about the reason why police brutality exists is because of Black male cowardness. That's what I want to hear about. I don't want to hear nothing about white supremacy. I don't want to hear don't ever talk to me about racism. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that. Oh, and before I end this video, in my last video, I did make a mistake. On Fridays, I think we're just going to have a little fun on Friday, right? When I was working at this one company down here in Memphis, every Friday I would come in. I didn't bring my lunch. I didn't do none of that. I say, on Friday, I'm going to eat what I want. And if it's bad, so what? And I called it Fat Boy Fridays, right? Fat Boy Friday, you can eat it all. So I think, on Friday, we're going to have a little fun on Fridays. So I don't know what we're going to term today. It's not going to be Fat Boy Fridays. It's going to be something. Fuck off Friday. I don't know. But it's just be, find a funny story like we did this last Friday with the betrayal of the Black community and the Mayate posse. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to have fun on Fridays. But I do want to make a correction. And that correction is when I was talking about the German girl that was hiding, the Jewish girl that was hiding inside this German family's home in the attic. Her name was Anne, but it was not Anne Rice. It was Anne Frank. Anne Frank, right? I don't know why Anne Rice was in my mind. Anne Rice is the one who wrote, when I was in prison, we used to have a little freaky literature novels, the adult novels, and Anne Rice she wrote a whole lot of freaky stories back in the day, right? But yeah, so that's the correction that I wanted to make. So this video is about to be 40 minutes long, and of course, we're not on here entertaining you, right? So it's going to be boring to a lot of people, but I think Black America should rethink its stance on hip hop. Hip hop, as we know it, must be destroyed completely. And if there ever was a revolutionary shift in our thinking, I don't think that, generations down the line, hip hop, they wouldn't even know what hip hop was because we're going to destroy everything about it. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I have something to do, so This will be the only video for today. But please, black people, please, let's not try to preserve that which is destroying us. And one more thing. You know, yesterday I really wanted a burrito, right? I wanted a burrito, but I mean, in my lifetime, I've eaten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of burritos. But we have to get, we have to become, they're forcing us to become frugal, right? We have to make the decision, and only you as the individual can do this. This is not a collective decision. It is an individual decision, right? We have to stop spending our money with businesses who don't patronize our businesses. And that includes black businesses too. If you don't patronize other black businesses, right, then we're not going to patronize you. But for the sake of this argument, we're talking about, you know, Asian businesses, Korean businesses, Hispanic businesses. I love Chinese food. That's some of the most. That's my favorite dish. I love burritos, love it. But I'm absolutely, positively coming to the conclusion that I'm going to start being frugal with my money, right? We have to stop spending our money in businesses who do not support us, right? I was looking at a stat the other day. They said that Black America annually spends 1.7, 1.8 trillion dollars. That is a huge amount of money that's not coming back into our community. Now, again, we live under colonialism, so no community up under this government is going to see its dollar circulate time and time again. You know, Asians, they say that their dollar circulates more in their communities than any other community, right? But the Hispanics in this country spend $3 trillion. But some of that money, and you can see it within their businesses. I mean, by and large, the Hispanic businesses in this country are mom and pop businesses, you know, but their money circulates more in their community than our money circulates in our community, right? So we have to become more frugal in our spending. It's gonna hurt, man. It's gonna hurt me not going to get a burrito. It's gonna hurt me not going to get that Chinese fried rice. I love Chinese food, but I'm finna stop. Yeah, I've been smoking cigars lately. They don't. Ain't no cigar company gonna buy none of our products, so I'm gonna have to stop. I have a drink every now and then. They're not gonna come and buy our business, so man, we gotta stop. If we did that, if we just become Apple, stuff like, I'll never have an Apple phone, please, never, right? But those companies aren't gonna come and patronize us. So why should we unequivocally keep giving them our money? Why? Once we become frugal and stop spending with them, then they're going to start meeting some of our demands. Remember, we live in a capitalist society. And so I got my water this time. I'm not going to be caught like I did that one time, choking. I got the big, what I take to the gym. So, yeah, we're going to start spending our money. I'm going to start spending mine. I don't know what the rest of the black community going to do. I'm going to stop spending mine. But I've rambled enough. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And I hope you guys, damn, I don't know how I hurt my rib in the gym. But I did. So we're going to end the video. And tell me what you think. I'll make more videos tomorrow. We're gonna get back to, you know, to the international scene. Oh, it's a lot going on. They keep pushing my presidency. My president sits over in the Kremlin. I'm gonna tell you what my president is at. My president is Putin, right? I'm serious. My president is Putin. I would be his Secret Service and I'd take a bullet for President Putin. He's the strongest leader that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And we don't have some strong ones out there. But he's the strongest one. So I'm going to end this video. And again, if you want a copy of Strategic Alliance, see, I'm trying to sell my book. And every black business that I took my book to, and I say, hey, look, man, this is my book. It's only $25. Oh, man, I don't need me. Okay, well, you know what? I'll never come to your business establishment again. You don't support black businesses. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling, and we're going to end it. And again, peace out.